What's going on, everybody? So now we're going to set up the Vizio P9Q for the first time. This is the 2022 model, and we're just going to dive right in by selecting English as our primary language. And we can use it for home use or for store demo. To show you guys the store demo, I'm going to select store demo. It's giving me a counter now. It's saying that the store demo is going to start in T-minus, let's say 5 seconds, since that's what it's doing here. And then we'll show you what it's doing. Now I've got the C1 on to the left here. You'll probably see the reflection, maybe not. That's weird, it didn't do anything. But yeah, that's something that is annoying. They share the same signal. So I guess this is supposed to be the store demo. It's on the PS5, which I have hooked up and waiting to go, but I'm not seeing much in the way of a store demo, so don't know what that's all about, but okay. Welcome to SmartCast. Okay, and we've kind of already done this. I select English, and then I'll say home use, because store demo didn't really do much. Searching for remote, press and hold the microphone button and the mute button. Okay, so we're going to press and hold these two. Alright, so we're in the USA. Really slow, this user interface to load in and out. Now they're going to ask you for local channels. We're just going to skip, and then we're just going to skip that as well. Terms of service. Wonderfully, you can skip for now. What I find very interesting is notice how there's a Google privacy policy and Google terms of service, and you're not forced to select the Google terms of service. That's huge, because this is the first TV that had Google in it that I've ever seen that gives you the option to do skip all for now and then skip. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, that's really good. They're the only ones I've seen so far with Google in it. So everyone else is just choosing to allow the forced terms of service. It doesn't have to be a thing. So kudos to Vizio for figuring that part out. Now, so far, I'm kind of really taken back by the striking colors and brightness just off of this little the Pacific Rising and all that. I can't wait to see what this thing actually looks like now. That looked really good there just now, like really good. All right, so now we're gonna go over Vizio's picture presets. We've got calibrated dark. We've got game, which is super dark. We've got sports. We've got vivid. So these are the modes that they have. Now we're going to go over the presets. I'm going to stick to calibrated for now. Ambient light sensor, you've got backlight, you have brightness, contrast, color, tint, sharpness, color temperature, which you have warm, cool, and normal. You don't have any other options other than that. Aspect ratio, they won't let you change, so I can only see normal for now. Under advanced picture options, we have black detail, which you have off, low, medium, high. I'm going to leave it on off. We have super resolution, that's grayed out. We have edge enhancement, which they have low, medium, high, and off. I'm going to leave it off. We've got local contrast. They have low, medium, and high, or off. I'm going to leave it off. For active full array, they have medium, high, off, and low. Now, low acts a lot like Samsung's old Q8FN televisions, where the low gives you really deep black level for some reason from what I'm seeing here. Though when you go to medium, it adds for medium luminosity, but also like medium on the black level control. But when you go to high, things start to get a little bit more in the way of grayish, actually, which looks a little weird because they prioritize brightness when you use high full array local dimming. Don't know why that is. Don't know if that'll change once I throw up test patterns or things like that, but it's definitely something to note. For now, I'll stick with medium since that's what they have it at. Under motion control, they have everything basically set to 2, but they don't have motion presets, which does suck. I'm going to go ahead and max out the motion options because why not? I like doing that. Clear action, let's see if the black frame insertion technology has any flicker. And no, there is no flicker on it, so that's really good. Okay, but I'm going to leave it off for now. Noise reduction, they have low on for the signal noise. They have low, medium, and high. I'm just going to turn it off. For block noise reduction, they have low, medium, and high. I'm going to turn that off. And for contour smoothing, which is their smooth gradation feature, they have low, medium, and high. I'm going to turn it to high because these budget TVs typically have really bad banding, so this should do a lot to fix a lot of that. Just bumped the camera here, so I'm going to stabilize it there. Thank you. Now let's continue on. We're going to go into the game engine. They have auto low latency on. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. But the Game Engine Pro, once you do turn it on, it says Game Engine Pro. So I mean, c'est la vie there. I'm going to turn off variable refresh rate, and I'm going to turn off the auto low latency feature because I don't like using these game features unless I absolutely need them, which is extremely rare. I'm a 4K 60 kind of guy. We have film mode. I'm going to turn that off. Gamma is at 2.1. I like 2.4, so that's where I'll leave it at. We've got what is this? Enhanced viewing angle. I'm going to turn that off. That usually sours colors in my experience. It does not do a whole lot for them. You can play around with it for sure, but I mean, really, I don't see a big benefit either way. Undercolor calibration, they do have an HSL, so that's good news there. And they also have other calibration patterns for those looking to do their own calibration stuff, but don't have test patterns or test pattern generators. White balance tuner, they have all that stuff. So if you want to go ahead and do the white balance adjustments, you have that as well, up to a 20-point white balance adjustment. Let's see, what else do they have picture option wise? Input settings. So right now we are in HDMI 2.1 mode, but you do have an HDMI 1.4 mode, which we don't really need. You also have the option when using a PC to set to chroma sampling 444, so you can do that, or you can just turn it off. It's really up to you to decide which one you want. I guess we could leave it to 444, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it to off. In the color space, you only have RGB or YCB CR. So very stupid that that's how they go about naming the color space. I would have liked to see like DCI-P3, Rec 2020, things like that. So something I'm not real keen on. But again, it is what it is. And that's pretty much it for the picture settings. You do have picture edit mode where you can save a custom preset after you've already created one. And that basically allows you to flesh out your picture options. I've done this in the past on their H1, which is their OLED model, where you can go in and make an anime mode and you can make a Nintendo Switch preset and like all these cool things. So per the device you're using, it's optimized for it. I love this, and I think more manufacturers should do it. Vizio's actually in the win because they're the only ones offering anything like this. So I think that's really good. As far as audio options, don't expect anything phenomenal here. I mean, really, I mean, you're probably going to need a soundbar anyway, but you do have all the basic stuff that most TV manufacturers offer. You have network, you have accessibility options, not a terrible lot of accessibility options. Under system settings, you have all of the main stuff that you can need. We're in eco mode right now. We can go ahead and go to quick start mode, and then USB power always on and all this other stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of things in here in the menu interface, but now I want to show you what the picture quality looks like. So here we are in the calibrated mode, and this is Ratchet & Clank on PS5, and it's very pale, very green, and very washed and muted. So the calibrated mode does not look very good despite being a so-called professional calibration. It will absolutely need some work done to it, but in my experience, every single television manufacturer that I've had the pleasure of calibrating and reviewing really on this channel has almost immediately always had this problem where they target being overly green for whatever reason, and it does not look good. So if this is something that you like, then maybe this will be the best TV you've ever seen, but they've got a lot of work to do. This is not a pretty looking image at all right now. It's very washed, very muted, and again, pretty pukey as far as the colors. You probably can see a lot of that right now, and I'll be making sure to give you guys proper settings and optimize it. Those settings will be available exclusively for channel members. If you want to join, I got you covered. It'll be $5, and then you guys can get the best picture quality for this display for sure. And I'll show you guys that at a later time, but at least I wanted to give you guys an out-of-the-box example, because a lot of people like to show out-of-the-box comparisons and compare TVs that way. If you're doing that, I really don't recommend it, because again, this TV is not a champion out of the box. You are going to need to put some work in, but truth be told, most TVs, right up to even the top-end Sony TVs and Samsung TVs and so on, do have that same problem. So just wanted to kind of put that out there. But as far as clarity, the clarity is good. Motion is meh. I'm not really noticing a whole lot of awesome sauce as far as motion goes, even though we've maxed everything out. And to kind of drive that home, I'm going to open up the picture settings, and we're going to go down into the advanced. and then we're going to go down into motion control. And as you see, everything's maxed out. Now watch what happens when I do what the industry purists say to do. You're going to turn everything off because we don't want any kind of motion correction. And I almost immediately noticed that there is some judder that you're going to be seeing, and it's pretty jerky. The image is jerky, and that's the exact word that I would use, because it gets smooth and then it starts jerk, jerk, jerk. It's very weird. I don't know how much of it's going to show up on YouTube, but it's not smooth. It's definitely not the clearest, cleanest image it needs to be, especially being a 60 hertz source. It's definitely something that I would have a gripe with. But be that as it may, we do have motion processing, so there's no need to gripe too much about it, because we can go into motion control and then we can just add back in that motion processing, and things start smoothing out pretty substantially by comparison to where it was. I actually want to go a little bit less. I'll do 7 on the motion blur. So 10 and 7, that's what I'm going to be using for motion for this, because I think that gives a semi-fluid look, and it looks a lot more like a 60 FPS game now. So that's what I'll say there. So let's go ahead and get something else up on the screen for you guys. Just showing you a little bit of Kenna Bridge of Spirits, just so you can get an idea. The peak brightness is pretty damn impressive, I'm not going to lie. It's something that looks really good, but there is a lot of posterization and a lot of banding. So that's something that I'm really, like, look at that. Like, what the hell is that? That looks terrible. My God. Yeah, the posterization is very, very real on this TV. That's really, really bad. And if you don't know what posterization is, just Google it, look it up, and look at images of posterization. The image basically looks broken. It looks really bad. So, yeah. There's not really a whole lot more I'd say. Outside of it's all right. I mean, colors look a little meh. You've got to do some work to it for sure, but the image is striking, and clarity and contrast are pretty good. I like that they have smooth gradation, so that's pretty good. We'll see how they perform, but that being said, if you guys want to see anything on this TV, let me know. I want to thank you guys so much for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Not really digging the picture so far. It's a little blue for me. A lot of blue I'm noticing in this image, so it definitely needs the calibration. But yeah, until the next video, I'll see you guys later.